So, Max, who really is the key player for this Nets team?
Ready for this? How's this for a hot take, Stephen A? The answer is DeAndre Jordan. He is the key player on this Nets team as currently
with
constructed.
Harden, KD,
DeAndre
Kyrie.
Jordan.
Okay.
That's right. I said it. That's right. Not to mention Joe Harris, one of the best three-point shooters in the game.
Yeah.
This is why it's
Could have
DeAndre
even went Nash.
Jordan. KD and Harden were balling without Kyrie. James Harden rolled out of bed looking like a hot mess, showed up fat, and he and KD looked great together. So everyone says, oh, Kyrie, that's going to be the issue. But since Kyrie's come back, there's still one of the best offenses we've ever seen. One of the best. And I expect by the end of this year, let me just be very clear, I expect this team to be the number one greatest offense of all time. 3 elite players who can get their shot at an elite level and hit it from all 3 levels, from anywhere. They're going to be and Joe Harris. What they need is defense. They haven't been playing defense. In fact, Steve Nash and DeAndre Jordan got into it. Teammates got into it. DeAndre Jordan, for all his size and still at his age, athletic ability, has not been very good defensively, and they need him to be the anchor. I kept saying, Stephen A., since the trade, Jared Allen's gone, right? They're going to have to make a trade for a guy who can grab some defensive boards. Because even if you play some defense, you have a pretty good sequence. If you don't get the rebound, who cares? They got another chance to score. And the Nets really have a problem there. When you're playing Jeff Green at the 5, you have a real problem. But DeAndre Jordan, what's he going to do? Give you 12, 15 okay minutes or 20 minutes that aren't so great anymore in the modern NBA? He played real defense last night. Miles Turner didn't do anything. And DeAndre Jordan actually also scored. But the main thing was the defensive presence. When he can be the eraser in the paint for any mistakes, when he has it together defensively and is communicating with his teammates, the Nets actually have the answer they're looking for. We know what we're going to get from KD and James Harden, and on the court, even Kyrie Irving for all the off-the-court stuff. Kyrie's impossible when he's on the court. Look at him last night. You can't stop him. Joe Harris, one of the best shooters in the league, period. Those 4 guys, ridiculous. Jeff Green can't play the 5 and have defense. You're not going to have a defensive unit. If DeAndre Jordan can play like that on this roster, that's actually the key. Because Stephen A., right now since the Harden trade, they're the worst defensive unit team of all time. Lowest defensive efficiency per 100 possessions of all time. And no team in the last 20 years has won a finals being below 11th, let alone the last of all time. DeAndre Jordan on this roster is the key.
Look, I'm not trying to disrespect DeAndre Jordan because, first of all, he had 12 points, 13 rebounds last night. That's good. He should do something close to that every single night. And obviously, with Jared Allen being gone, there's an elevated level of responsibility that he has to have. I get that. But this team is going where the hell Kevin Durant takes them. It's Kevin Durant. He's the key. Because you're not just talking about his 29 and a half points a game, his near 53% shooting from the field, his near 45% shooting from three-point range. You're not even talking about that. We know he's unstoppable. We know Kyrie Irving is just a showstopper in box office. And James Harden can play that point guard spot, and he can deliver. And he's showing a level of selflessness that we are not giving James Harden enough credit for. He's going there. He's fitting in. He's feeding the ball to Kyrie, letting Kyrie shoot twice as many times than him half the nights they play, et cetera, et cetera. It's no problem whatsoever. Let's give James Harden credit on that level, because this is a guy that averaged 30 over the last 3 seasons, at least 28 over the last 5. But here's why Kevin Durant is the key. Everyone's here because of him. Period. Kyrie Irving's in Brooklyn because of him. James Harden's in Brooklyn because of him. Steve Nash, who has never coached on any level a day in his life, is the head coach of a championship contender with his first job in the coaching ranks, okay, because of Kevin Durant. And oh, by the way, bless you. And by the way, not only is he that guy, but let's take this into account as well. He's that guy. You know that he didn't have any kind of defensive background when he was a player. His lead assistant is Mike D'Antoni, who we give all the credit in the world to for his offensive brilliance. But don't get me started with Jamie Foxx imitations about how you got to take the D out of the, you got to take the D out of D'Antoni. At some point in time, he's got to figure out that you have to play defense at some time. Okay, that's Jamie Foxx's Cleveland A. Smith. Okay, that's what he said about Mike D'Antoni. We all know this. All of them are there because of Kevin Durant. You were in Golden State winning championships. When you lost, it was because you tore your Achilles. Otherwise, you probably would have swept Toronto as far as I'm concerned, or at the worst, took them out in 5 games. You depart from there. You don't go back to Oklahoma City. You don't go to your hometown and the nation's capital and play with Bradley Beal or somebody. You don't go to Madison Square Garden. You go to Brooklyn. And everything that is there is because of Kevin Durant. So the onus is on him to bring all of the pieces together. All of them. Whether it's Kyrie and whether or not questions, is he going to keep his head on straight? Is he going to just disappear, go AWOL? No, he's not going to do that, all right? But that's on Kevin Durant. James Harden, his selflessness, and whether or not it's going to continue, even though they're stars and they're veterans, it's still on Kevin Durant. The coaching. It's your coach. You chose him. You understand what I'm saying? If there was a Rudy rule in the NBA, it would have been violated because they ain't think about anybody but Steve Nash, okay? The bottom line is everything that's there in Brooklyn, even DeAndre Jordan, is because of Kevin Durant. It all comes down to him, and you can't get around that.
KD is going to get the credit for a championship or the blame if they fall short. That is true. KD is the best player on the team. That is also true. And KD is the most important player on the team because he's an MVP caliber player.
So he's the best and he's the most important, but he's not the key.
Miraculously. That's true. The reason the key player is DeAndre, as this roster's currently constructed, is like, let's say they don't make a move by the deadline. Could this roster win a championship? Well, we know what we're getting from KD. This is an argument you frequently make. We know what we're getting from Harden, who, you're right, is an unselfish player. He's unfairly labeled as a selfish player. Look at him averaging fewer points than the other 2 guys because that's what they need him to do. You know what you're going to get from Kyrie. He can be a knucklehead off the you know, like say ridiculous things and everything and sometimes dribble too much. But he is a star. He's an amazing player. And Joe Harris, you know what you're going to get. Even Jeff Green, you know what you're going to get. The question is DeAndre, Stephen A. And the reason that's even elevated is if they are, even if they get way better on defense, they become the 25th or the 22nd best defensive team. That ain't going to do it. They might not even get out of the East, let alone win a championship like that. There's a good chance they don't get out of the East. They need to be much better. And the key, the guy with the size, the athletic ability, and the defensive chops, at least at times in the past, to get it done, is DeAndre. Either he steps up and fills that role they need, or they're going to have to go and get that. And if those 2 things don't happen, this team is not getting to where they want to go. They won't even get out of the East. That's why I'm saying DeAndre's key. Look what happened.